This is Kenner from Red Tail Farm, and I want to show y'all a yard today that I've had the privilege of working in for the last 3 years. And the patron is moving, the owner is moving, but I've learned a ton in this yard, and I want to do a quick walkthrough and show you what I think is the most beautiful perennial landscape I've ever seen in town. And there's my there's my niece. I got a camera on my head. We're taking a look at all the beautiful perennial plants that live in this yard. And this house was built about 9 years ago, right in the middle of this oak grove. So a lot of what the owner has done is establish native perennials and also a lot of understory trees. Like you see that red bud right there. You have some more typical rose bushes over here, and the agaves over yonder. Just on the other side of them is some Turk's caps. There's a lot of Turk's caps in this yard, but I really appreciate the understory trees that she's put in. She's got about 3 red buds. There's the one nearest the street. That's rough-leaf dogwood over there. I want to take a look at. And it started coming up on its own. There's a lot of younger rough-leaf dogwoods coming up around it. And she put this in about 3 years ago, I think. Oh, there's another one right at the base of that oak tree. And I'll be honest, I don't know a lot of these perennial plants, these herbaceous perennials, which die back to the root system each winter. Some more typical irises, right? I split and helped. Dude, look at this beautiful mountain laurel. Yeah, that's a beautiful mountain laurel tree. Got those beautiful purple flowers that look like bunches of grapes when they bloom early in the spring. Oh yeah, I'm playing with that leaf. And this is one of my favorites that I've collected some seed from. I'm going to try and sprout Texas sage, or barometer's bush, as it's called. Cenizo is what we call it as well. And it's really beautiful. It keeps its leaves throughout the winter, but whenever there's a change in barometric pressure, like when it's about to rain, this bush will flower, beautiful purple flowers. And she's got 3 of them. She's got this one here, and then there's another one there, just beside the goddess sculpture. And then on the other side of the goddess sculpture, there's another one. And they are really beautiful bushes. This is Flame de Acanthus, I think it's called, or Flame Acanthus. And sometimes I've seen the hummingbirds coming and feeding on this, getting the nectar. The hummingbirds really like that. They also really like the Turk's caps. And she's got a bunch of trellises we're about to walk past with different vines on them. A lot of Turk's caps. Yes, Denny? That's a bird bath right there. It's a beautiful custom bird bath. Sure. Let's take a look inside. She's got some pieces of glass in there, decorative pieces of glass. Pretty cool, huh? Here, stay close, kid. Oh yeah, and on this trellis here, there's a coral honeysuckle. It's a real bright red honeysuckle that blooms in early spring. And then we got crossvine all over. This is all crossvine on this trellis. A lot more Turk's cap. Back here is a real robust passion flower vine. Right next to this beautiful gargoyle sculpture. Another bird bath. So, and I think these just popped up on their own because there's so much traffic, there's so many birds coming into this yard. This is a Yapon holly, it looks like. And there's a few little ones that are popping up. These agaves back here are all twisted because they don't have much sunlight, so, and they're all contorted. I guess trying to find whatever light that they can, being a little confused as to their environment. Look at this big, beautiful lantana back here.
And glass too.
Yeah, there's glass in that bird bath too. And here we got Carolina buckthorn. There's a real healthy red bud. I think this one was native. This one was on the lot, I believe. I can't remember if she put it in, but it's really thrived underneath these oaks here. This red bud has. Oh, look at this. This is one of the native passion flowers, Passiflora lutea. It's pretty little yellow flowers, but it's not like that big passion flower. I think that's a Passiflora incarnata over there. The big purple passion flower is really beautiful.
It died.
Oh no, it's not dead. It's just some of the leaves fall off in the winter. It doesn't need them, so it goes back to the ground where it's protected from the frost, and then it will come back strong in the spring.
And there's nothing under there.
Mm-hmm. That.
Look at this.
Oh yeah, back here is where all the bluebonnets come up in the spring. This whole area is just covered in bluebonnets because this is where they have, I think, a little more light. There's a gap here where they can really take advantage of the light.
And look at these stakes on here.
Oh yeah, that's a fire. It's a fire that's been built that hasn't been lit. All right. This one I think is called Durant. I'll be honest, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know a lot of these perennials, even though I've worked in this yard for a few years. She knows a lot more than me, the owner. Beautiful Mustang grapevines back here, and this is where we did all the compost. That's just an old wood pile, and then take a look at these Mustang grapevines that are growing all over them. Oh, and here are raised beds back here. I'm gonna collect some of these chili pekins. I've got this growing out in my pasture, out in my horse pasture. In fact, a lot of the perennials that grow in this yard, I find in my horse pasture. Lantana as well. There's another big lantana. I tell you what, this rosemary is blooming. She's got rosemary all over this yard that's become well established after 7 years. And the bees love this stuff. I see a lot of bees visiting that rosemary as it's blooming this fall. It has been a real pleasure working in this yard. I'm gonna miss it. But this is a wonderful example of what you can do in an environment like Central Texas, where there are alternatives to turf grass. I mean, she doesn't have any of the turf grass in this yard like her neighbors have. The St. Augustine, fescue, all the typical turf grass varieties. She's just worked hard to establish all these perennial cultures, and we get so much rain here that I wouldn't call this yard xeriscaped, because xeriscaping is the term for a lack of turf grass, or starting a yard, or an ecosystem in your yard that doesn't require water, but it's more specific to arid environments. We actually get quite a bit of rainfall here in Central Texas, so I think of this as the most beautiful example of a perennial landscape, domestic landscape, that I've ever gotten to work in. So a lot of good ideas. I had to take this video so I could record this yard and all of the plant cultures here, because I still have a lot to learn, and I don't even know everything that's in this yard that I've worked in for so long. All right, y'all. Tinny, wave to the camera. Peace. I had to turn the camera back on real quick, because whenever you spend a little time in this yard, you see so many butterflies and so many hummingbirds, and at night the moths come out and feed on a lot of the same plants that the butterflies feed on during the day. It is really, a beautiful place to spend some quiet time. All right, kid, come on.